Welcome back. Today, we're exploring a geological marvel hidden deep beneath Mexico's Chihuahuan Desert. It's a place of just breathtaking, almost unimaginable beauty. But, and here's the catch, it is also one of the most downright hostile environments on Earth. We're going to look at the science, the crazy discovery, and the terrifying reality of a place that literally feels like it belongs in a sci-fi movie. Okay, let's dive into this explainer on the deadly splendor of the giant crystal cave.
Picture this. You're descending deep into the earth. 300 meters below the sunlit surface of the desert, you step into a chamber that looks like it's on an entirely different planet. You're suddenly surrounded by these towering, razor-sharp white beams just sprouting from the ground in the ceiling like shattered glass. But this alien world isn't just visually stunning, it is fiercely, aggressively unwelcoming to human life.
And this brilliantly illustrates the crazy contrast of this place. When you first look at these colossal structures, your brain naturally tells you, oh, it must be freezing in there, right? It looks exactly like an ice fortress, kind of like Superman's Fortress of Solitude. But the reality is actually a terrifying truth. Instead of freezing temperatures, the air inside this cave sits at a scalding 58 degrees Celsius, that is nearly 136 degrees Fahrenheit. And if that's not enough, the humidity hovers at a suffocating near 100%. It is literally a giant underground oven.
Because of those extreme, compounding conditions, human presence here is terrifyingly brief. 10 minutes. That is it. That's the absolute maximum amount of time a human being can survive in this subterranean anomaly without specialized protection. If you stay beyond that 10-minute mark, your body begins to undergo a horrific series of physiological failures that you just cannot reverse.
Let's walk through exactly what happens to a human body in those conditions. Step 1, you're inhaling air with nearly 100% humidity. Step 2, because the air inside your lungs is actually cooler than the boiling ambient air around you, your body's natural cooling mechanisms completely shut down. You just can't sweat to relieve the heat. And step 3, this is the scary part. The water vapor from the air condenses directly inside your respiratory tract. So the crucial point is, your lungs literally begin to flood from the inside out. You would essentially drown on dry land, completely trapped in the heat.
An accidental discovery.
It's a completely terrifying environment, right? So you might be wondering, how did we even find a place so deep, so isolated, and so lethal? Well, the story starts right at the turn of the millennium. In the year 2000, two brothers were working deep underground, drilling through the lead and silver shafts of the Naica mine in Chihuahua, Mexico. As they worked, they accidentally broke through a subterranean wall. And they didn't just find another vein of silver, they stumbled into the Cueva de los Cristales, the Cave of Crystals. It was a geological anomaly completely unprecedented in human history. Just think about that for a second, realizing that these two miners were the absolute first human eyes to ever look upon this monumental chamber. It's just awe-inspiring.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer, unbelievable scale of what those miners found that day. We're talking about giant gypsum columns reaching up to 11.4 meters, or 37.4 feet in length. To put that massive number into perspective, just picture a standard yellow school bus. Got it? Now imagine that entire school bus made of solid, glowing white crystal, jetting diagonally right out of the earth.
And it's not just their length that'll blow your mind, it's their mass. A single one of these giant crystal beams can weigh up to 55 tons. When you look at photographs of scientists actually standing on these beams, the humans look like tiny little action figures resting on fallen trees. The sheer weight and monumental size of these formations really emphasize just how small and fragile we are in this immense ancient environment.
Surviving the crystal cave. Of course, finding the cave was really only the first challenge. The second, and arguably much harder challenge, was figuring out how scientists could actually get inside, study, and document this oven-like chamber without, well, dying. As we saw earlier, without protection, you've got about 10 minutes before your lungs start to flood. To survive, researchers had to invent highly customized protective gear. They wore these bulky, refrigerated orange ice suits totally packed with ice to lower their core temperatures. They also had to carry specialized breathing apparatuses in custom backpacks, which provided cool, dry air so their lungs wouldn't condense the ambient moisture. But even fully suited up in this state-of-the-art gear, human presence was super fleeting. Their time was strictly capped at 30 to 45 minutes maximum before they had to evacuate just to cool down. It was essentially a high-stakes, intense sprint for scientific data.
How the giants grew.
Let's move to and see how this builds. So, we know how incredibly dangerous it is, and we know how massive these structures are. But the biggest question still remains: how on earth did a subterranean nightmare produce such majestic, pristine beauty? Tracing the timeline back, it starts 500,000 years ago. A magma chamber situated directly beneath the cave superheated the underground water, which was completely saturated with minerals. Over the next 500,000 years, something incredible happened. The temperature stayed consistently locked at exactly 58 degrees Celsius. This total thermal stability, bathed in complete darkness, allowed for continuous, uninterrupted mineral growth. Then, if we zoom in on 50,000 years ago, ancient microbes actually became trapped inside fluid bubbles within these slowly growing crystals.
To get just a little bit more technical on the chemistry here, the specific mineral responsible for all this is calcium sulfate, in a form called anhydrite. Because the magma chamber kept the water perfectly hot, this anhydrite continuously and incredibly slowly converted into gypsum over that entire half-million-year span. It's the steady, totally uninterrupted conversion of this specific mineral under those exact, locked-in thermal conditions that actually formed the massive crystal beams we've been talking about.
And hey, remember those microbes from the timeline? Scientists analyzing tiny fluid pockets within these giant crystals found actual ancient dormant life forms. These organisms had been alive in a dormant state for over 50,000 years. They survived by feeding on trace metals, like iron and manganese trapped right inside the crystal bubbles. It is truly amazing. Even in an environment so profoundly deadly to us, life found a way to endure and sustain itself for tens of thousands of years. It's a staggering biological revelation just hidden away inside a geological marvel.
Return to the deep. Sadly, this magical window into Earth's ancient past was really only temporary. You see, the Cave of Crystals was only accessible to us because industrial mining pumps were actively removing the groundwater from the shafts. It was an entirely artificial state of dryness. In 2017, the mining operations at Naica finally ceased. The massive industrial pumps were turned off, and exactly as nature intended, the subterranean chamber flooded once again. Today, the cave is completely unreachable, submerged once more in dark, hot waters deep below the desert. The giant crystals are now growing in silence again, safely hidden away from human feet, ready to be preserved for another 500,000 years.
It is a place of terrifying extreme conditions and unparalleled, almost alien beauty. A fragile environment that completely rejected human presence, yet allowed us just a brief, incredible glimpse of its splendor. Looking at everything we've uncovered today, I just have to ask you, if you had this specialized suit, and if you could step inside for just 5 minutes to see it with your own eyes, would you take the risk? Thanks for exploring this fascinating topic with us today, and keep your curiosity alive as we continue to unpack the incredible wonders of our world.